Kusada Yoshiko saw that man, and I had seen him before. Many years had passed, but when I tried to remember that event, everything became very clear in my mind. It happened a long time ago. At that time, I had just entered university. The university was very famous. Students came from many places. It also had very good dormitories. In my room, there was a quiet student. His name was Fun Tien. Fun Tien looked weak and sickly. His skin was very pale and had a little blue color. His face did not make people feel comfortable. Because of this, he was very lonely. I often saw him looking up at the sky. Sometimes he looked at it for 3 or 4 hours without feeling tired. When he looked at the sky, he always hummed a strange little song. Several times I asked him, "Where is that folk song from?" He told me it came from a place very, very far away. Fun Tien was not popular with others, but he stayed in our room for one reason. The other 2 students in our room were strong athletes. They were good at sports, but not very good at studying. Fun Tien, however, was the #1 student in the whole university. All of us were shocked by his intelligence. At that time, we studied mathematics. Later, I changed my major because I knew I did not have talent in this field. For Fun Tien, even the hardest math problems were as easy as simple equations. So he almost became a private tutor for the 2 athletes. Nothing special happened in the first half semester. Only 3 days after the second half semester began, something strange happened. That afternoon was very hot. I was alone in the dormitory. Suddenly, one of the athletes ran into the room. His face was pale and his lips were white. He still held a tennis racket in his hand. He was breathing hard. I was playing tennis with Fun Tien. I waved my fan and said, "Why are you so shocked?" He sighed and said, "Fun Tien fell down. He hurt his knee. His blood. His eyes opened very wide. He looked very frightened. I was surprised. Was he hurt badly? Why didn't you call the school doctor?" While speaking, I jumped off the bed and ran outside. Before I reached the tennis court, I saw Fun Tien walking toward me. His knee was tied with a towel. I hurried to him. "You were hurt? Do you want me to go with you to the doctor?" Fun Tien suddenly stopped. "How do you know?" I said, "Lam Vi told me." Lam Vi was the student who ran into the room. Fun Tien looked very nervous. He grabbed my arm. His hand was cold. "What did he say?" I replied, "Nothing. He only said you fell down." Fun Tien behaved strangely. He sighed and said, "Actually, Lam Vi is a good person, but he is very unlucky." I was confused. "Unlucky? What do you mean?" Fun Tien only shook his head. He did not continue. We walked back to the dormitory while talking. When we reached the door, I pushed it open. What I saw in that moment is something I will never forget in my life. Lam Vi was sitting beside his bed. He faced us, and he was cutting his own throat with a razor. Thick blood poured out like liquid. The lower part of his face and his right hand were covered with dark red blood. But he kept cutting, and his face had a very strange expression. Lam V was trying to kill himself. This was almost impossible. He was always cheerful. He was the kind of person who believed that even if the sky fell, someone taller would hold it. If a person like him could commit suicide, then everyone in the world would already be dead. But Lam V was truly trying to kill himself. Even later in my life, I never saw anyone cutting his own throat with such determination. I do not know how long I stood there. It felt like a nightmare. I wanted to shout, but no sound came out. When I finally shouted, the first thing I said was, "Lam V, what are you doing?" People often say stupid things in emergencies. That sentence was a perfect example. Lam V did not answer. I rushed to him and grabbed the razor away. His body fell backward. I tried every first aid method I knew. Behind me, Fung Thien said softly, He is a good person." That was the second time I heard him say this. I felt it was strange, but in that situation, no one would think deeply about it. I shouted loudly, "Help! Someone help!" Within 3 minutes, the whole dormitory became noisy. The dorm manager's face was even uglier than sour soup. After that, many things happened. My memory of them is unclear. I only remember that Fun Tien and I were questioned by the police. Lam V survived. After this incident, many strange stories spread in the school. Some people said the dormitory was haunted. Others said Lam V loved a girl secretly and she rejected him. These rumors lasted for more than half a year. After Lam V recovered, he never returned to school. We lost contact with him. Half a year later, winter vacation came. Most students went home. The dormitory became very quiet. I decided not to go home. Fung Tien also stayed. Every day we went skating in the school rink. One day, we were skating as usual. We skated in circles around the rink. Suddenly, Fung Tien's body moved sideways. Then there was a loud sound. His skate blade broke into 2 pieces. One piece flew up and hit his thigh. Of course, he fell onto the ice. I quickly skated toward him. His hand pressed the wound on his leg. Blood flowed between his fingers. There was blood on the ice. Normally, this was nothing strange. People often get hurt while skating. But I froze. The blood flowing from his fingers and the blood on the ice were all blue. The color was deep blue, like someone poured blue ink. At once, I remembered something from 6 months ago. When Lam V ran back from the tennis court, he had shouted, "His blood! His blood!" At that time, he did not finish his sentence. Now I finally understood. Lam V must have seen the blue blood flowing from Fung Thien's body. That was why he was so shocked. When he tried to tell me, he felt it was too strange and could not continue. And now I had seen it too. I cried out, "Fung Thien, your blood!" Fung Thien looked at me. Suddenly I felt dizzy. My body moved sideways and I fell onto the ice. At that time, I believed the dizziness came from sunlight reflecting on the ice. When I stood up again, Fung Tian was gone. Far away, someone was walking away. It looked like him. I called his name several times, but the person did not turn around. I looked at the ice again. I wanted to see the blood clearly, but there was nothing there. No red blood, no blue blood. I had no interest in skating anymore. I took off my skates and walked back to the dormitory. When I entered the room, I saw something strange. Fung Tian's bed had been opened and searched quickly. His small iron suitcase was gone. I sat on the bed and thought about everything again. I believed my eyes were not wrong, but blue blood in a human body was too unbelievable. While thinking about this, I suddenly remembered Lam V. Lam V's suicide. When I thought of the word suicide, something strange happened in my mind. Suddenly, suicide did not feel frightening. In that moment, it felt like as easy as talking with a girlfriend. It even felt like something worth trying. I looked at the window beam. I thought I could hang myself there. Then I looked at my skates on the floor. The blade shone coldly. I suddenly thought the blade might also end my life. Later, when I remembered this moment, I felt as if I had been hypnotized. Those thoughts were not really my own. I never truly wanted to die. But when the idea appeared, I bent down and picked up the skate. I pointed the blade toward my forehead. Without thinking, I felt a strange feeling. Then I pushed the blade toward my head. If it had hit me, I would have died that day. But at the last second, someone suddenly shouted, "Wesley, what are you doing?" It was a woman's voice from the corridor outside. I shook suddenly. It felt like waking from a dream. For a moment, I did not understand why I was holding the skate above my head. Then I understood. I had wanted to kill myself. Cold fear spread through my whole body. At that moment, 3 girls in colorful winter coats ran into the room. "Wesley, come teach us skating." I was very grateful to them. They had saved my life. But I never told them why, because the story was impossible to explain. I went skating with them again. At noon, I returned to the dormitory. I sat quietly and thought. Now I understood why Lam V tried to kill himself. He could not control himself, just like I could not control myself earlier. But why did both Lam V and I have the same strong wish to die after seeing Fung Tian's blood? I did not dare stay in the dormitory anymore. That day, I moved to a relative's house in the city. I only returned when school began again. I never told anyone about this event, and after that day, I never saw Fung Tian again. He never returned to school. No one knew where he went. Later, I slowly forgot the whole thing. I believed everything was only coincidence. Maybe the sunlight on the ice made my mind react strangely. Maybe the blue blood was only an illusion, and Fung Tian's disappearance was just another coincidence. If Kusada Yoshiko had not told me why she fell from the slope, I would have completely forgotten it. But now, I remembered everything again. While walking alone through the heavy snow back to Madame Fuji's inn, I thought about every detail. I hoped my warning to Yoshiko tonight was not necessary. I hoped she would listen to music, fall asleep, and nothing would happen. I hoped all my worries were meaningless. I walked forward with my head down. Just before I reached the inn, I suddenly heard a police siren in the distance. It cut through the silent winter night. My heart started beating wildly. Inside my mind, I shouted, "No, no! It cannot be Yoshiko. Nothing must happen to her." I turned around and ran forward as fast as I could.